Marcus Johnson sat at his big desk on the top floor of the Johnson Motors building. Through his large windows, he could see the city below. The morning sun made the other buildings shine. Marcus had built his car company from nothing into one of the biggest in the country. Now, at age 45, he owned 20 car dealerships across 5 states. Marcus was looking at papers on his desk. His face showed worry. These papers had complaints from customers who visited his West Side dealership. Many black customers and other people of color wrote that the staff there treated them badly. They said they had to wait longer than white customers. Some said salespeople spoke rudely to them or asked to see their money first before showing them cars. This is the 5th complaint this month, Marcus said to himself. He picked up his phone and called his assistant, Lisa. Lisa, can you come in here, please? A minute later, Lisa walked in with her notepad. Yes, Mr. Johnson. These complaints from the West Side dealership are getting worse, Marcus said. People are saying our staff treats black customers differently than white customers. Lisa nodded. I've noticed more calls about that place. What do you want to do? Marcus thought for a moment. As a black man who had worked his way up from nothing, he knew how it felt to be judged by the color of his skin. When he was younger and had less money, car salespeople had often ignored him or treated him poorly. That's why he started his own company, to make sure all customers got fair treatment. I need to see for myself what's happening there, Marcus said. Call Robert in HR and ask him to come up. While waiting for Robert, Marcus looked at more customer comments online. One woman wrote, "The salesman told me to wait outside, while he helped a white couple who came in after me. I waited for 45 minutes before leaving. Never going back." Robert Chen, the head of human resources, knocked and entered Marcus's office. "You wanted to see me, sir?" "Yes, Robert." "Sit down," Marcus said. "We have a problem at West Side dealership. Too many people of color are complaining about bad treatment." Robert looked at the papers Marcus handed him. "This is serious. Should I send someone to investigate?" Marcus shook his head. "No, I'm going myself." "You?" Robert looked surprised. "But everyone there knows who you are." Marcus smiled. "Not if I go undercover. Tomorrow, I'm going to visit as a regular customer. No suit, no fancy car, no warning. I want to see how they treat me when they don't know I'm their boss." Robert looked worried. "Are you sure that's a good idea?" "It's the only way to know the truth," Marcus said firmly. "I need to see it with my own eyes." Marcus explained his plan. He would wear regular clothes, jeans, and a t-shirt. He would drive his old personal car, not his expensive company car. He would act like any other customer looking to buy a car. "I need you to be ready," Marcus told Robert. "If I find what I think I'll find, we'll need to act fast." Robert nodded. "What exactly do you want me to prepare?" "Have termination papers ready," Marcus said. His voice was serious now. "If they're treating people badly because of race, I want those people out of my company." Lisa came back in. "I've cleared your schedule for tomorrow, Mr. Johnson." "Good," Marcus said. He stood up and looked out at the city again. "My father always told me that the true test of a business isn't how it treats important people, but how it treats everyone else." He turned back to Robert and Lisa. "Tomorrow, we'll see if West Side dealership passes that test." As they left his office, Marcus felt both nervous and determined. Tomorrow would change everything. For the dealership staff, for his company, and for all the customers who deserved respect. The next morning, Marcus woke up early. Today was the day he would visit West Side dealership as a regular customer. He stood in front of his closet, looking at his many expensive suits. He pushed them aside and reached for clothes he rarely wore: a plain blue t-shirt, worn jeans, and old sneakers. After dressing, Marcus looked at himself in the mirror. Gone was the powerful CEO. In his place stood a man who looked like any other average person looking to buy a car. He took off his expensive watch and removed his designer glasses, replacing them with an older pair. Perfect, he said to himself. No one will know who I am. Marcus went to his garage. Instead of taking his shiny black company car with the Johnson Motors CEO license plate, he got into his old Honda. This car was 10 years old. He kept it to remind himself of where he came from, of the days when he was just starting his business. Before driving away, Marcus called Robert Chen. I'm heading to West Side now, he told Robert. Are you ready? Yes, sir, Robert answered. I have everything prepared. Just text me if you need me to come with the team. Good. I'll contact you after I see what's happening there. Marcus drove across town to West Side dealership. It was one of his biggest and most profitable locations. From the outside, it looked impressive. A large, modern building with rows of shiny new cars. Big signs advertised Best DALs and All CREDITWEL so on. Marcus parked his old Honda far from the entrance. He wanted to walk in like any other customer. He took a deep breath. Even though this was his own business, he felt nervous. Part of him hoped the complaints were wrong and his staff treated everyone fairly. He checked his phone one last time. Robert had sent a message. Good luck. Remember to record anything important. Marcus nodded to himself. In his pocket was his phone, ready to record video if needed. In his other pocket was his company ID card, the only thing that would prove he was the owner and CEO. As he walked toward the dealership, Marcus saw a white couple being greeted warmly at the door by a salesman. The salesman smiled, shook their hands, and led them inside. Marcus followed a few steps behind. Inside, the dealership was busy. About 15 customers walked around looking at cars. Marcus noticed something right away. The white customers all had salespeople helping them. But he saw 3 black customers and 1 Asian family standing alone, waiting for help. No one came to greet Marcus. He stood near the entrance for 5 minutes watching. One salesman looked at him, then turned away to help a white man who had just walked in. Interesting, Marcus thought. He decided to be more direct. He walked up to a desk where a woman was typing on a computer. Excuse me, he said. I'm interested in looking at the new models. The woman barely looked up. All our salespeople are busy right now. You'll have to wait. Marcus looked around. That man just got help, he said, pointing to the white customer who had entered after him. The woman sighed. Sir, if you can't wait, maybe you should try another dealership, or you can wait outside where there's more room. Wait outside? Marcus asked. But everyone else is waiting inside. Look, the woman said with an unfriendly voice, our salespeople will help customers who are serious buyers first. That's just how it works. Marcus felt a flash of anger, but kept his face calm. And how do you know I'm not a serious buyer? The woman looked at his old clothes and gave a small laugh. Just wait outside, please. Someone will help you. Eventually. Marcus nodded and slowly walked toward the door. But instead of going outside, he moved to a corner where he could watch everything. He took out his phone and started recording. This is even worse than I thought, he whispered to himself as he sent a text to Robert. Come now. Bring the team. It's time to clean house. Instead of going outside as told, Marcus moved to a quiet corner of the showroom. From here, he could see everything happening on the sales floor. He kept his phone in his hand, recording video. The evidence was growing by the minute. Marcus watched as a black family with 2 small children asked about family cars. The salesman told them the price was probably too high for them and suggested they look at used cars instead. Just 10 minutes later, the same salesman showed a white family with children the exact same cars without mentioning price. Near the coffee machine, Marcus struck up a conversation with an older Asian man who looked frustrated. Been waiting long? Marcus asked. The man sighed. Almost an hour. This is my 2nd time here this week. They always tell me to wait, but they never seem to have time for me. That's terrible, Marcus said. Has this happened before? Every time, the man replied. But my grandson says this place has the best prices, so I keep trying. Marcus felt his anger grow. These were his customers, people who wanted to buy his cars, and they were being treated poorly because of their race. This was exactly what he had built his company to fight against. His phone buzzed. A text from Robert. "We're 5 minutes away." Marcus decided it was time to gather more direct evidence. He walked up to a salesman who was standing alone, looking at his phone. "Excuse me," Marcus said. "I'd like to look at the new Apex model." The salesman looked Marcus up and down. "Those start at $45,000. "That's fine," Marcus said. "I'd like to test drive one." The salesman laughed. "Listen, buddy, we don't do test drives without some financial information first. We need to make sure you can actually afford the car." Marcus nodded calmly. "I understand. Do you ask all customers for financial information before test drives?" "Of course," the salesman said quickly. Just then, a white couple walked in. Another salesman greeted them warmly. Marcus heard the couple ask about the same car model. Within minutes, they were being handed keys for a test drive. No financial questions asked. The salesman talking to Marcus looked uncomfortable. "Look, why don't you come back another day when it's less busy?" "It doesn't look that busy to me," Marcus said. "And that couple is getting a test drive of the exact car I asked about." The salesman's face turned hard. "Listen, I decide who gets to drive these cars. Maybe you should try the used car lot down the street. That might be more your level." Marcus had heard enough. He stopped the recording on his phone and put it in his pocket. Then he took out his wallet and removed his CEO identification card. "Actually, my level is a bit higher than you think," Marcus said, holding up the ID. "My name is Marcus Johnson. I own this dealership. I own all the Johnson Motors dealerships." The salesman's mouth fell open. His face turned pale. "Mr. Johnson, we didn't know." "That was the point," Marcus said. His voice was calm but firm. "I wanted to see how you treat regular customers when you don't know who they are." Just then, the front doors opened. Robert Chen walked in with 4 other people from the company headquarters. They all wore serious expressions. The showroom grew quiet as people realized something important was happening. The sales manager, a tall man named Bill Thomas, rushed over. "Mr. Johnson, what a surprise. If we had known you were coming." "If you had known I was coming, you would have treated me differently," Marcus interrupted. "And that's exactly the problem." Marcus turned to Robert. "I've seen enough. Call everyone together. Every employee in this building needs to be in the conference room in 5 minutes." Robert nodded and began directing staff toward the back of the building. Marcus turned to the customers in the showroom. "Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize, but we need to close for about an hour. Something important has come up that needs my immediate attention." He looked directly at the people of color who had been waiting. "When we reopen, I promise things will be very different here." The large conference room at the back of the dealership was packed. 28 employees sat nervously around the long table and along the walls. Some whispered to each other. Others looked at their phones. No one seemed happy. Marcus stood at the front of the room with Robert Chen beside him. On the wall behind them, a large screen was ready to show videos. "Thank you all for coming so quickly," Marcus said. His voice was serious but calm. "For those who don't know me, I am Marcus Johnson, CEO and owner of Johnson Motors, including this dealership." He looked around the room. Some people wouldn't meet his eyes. "Today I came here as a regular customer. I wanted to see how you treat people who walk through those doors looking to buy a car." The sales manager, Bill Thomas, spoke up. "Mr. Johnson, if there was any problem with your visit today, I'm sure it was just a misunderstanding." Marcus shook his head. "It wasn't a misunderstanding, and it wasn't just about me." He turned to Robert. "Please play the videos." Robert pressed a button on his laptop. The screen showed Marcus's recordings from the showroom. Everyone watched as the videos clearly showed different treatment for white customers and customers of color. In one clip, A salesman told a black woman that a car was already sold, but then showed the same car to a white customer just minutes later. In another, the receptionist told an older Asian couple they needed to make an appointment, while white walk-in customers were helped right away. The room was completely silent now. Some employees looked shocked. Others looked guilty. When the videos ended, Marcus spoke again. "This is not how we do business at Johnson Motors. This is not what I built this company for." He walked slowly around the table, looking at each person. "I grew up without much money. When I was younger, I saved for months to buy my first car. When I went to dealerships, salespeople treated me like I was wasting their time. They made me feel small, less than human." Marcus stopped walking. "I promised myself that if I ever owned a car business, everyone who walked through the door would be treated with the same respect. Everyone would get the same chance to buy a car, no matter what they looked like or how much money they seemed to have." He looked at Bill Thomas. "What happened to that promise in this dealership, Mr. Thomas?" Bill's face was red. We try to focus on customers who are more likely to buy." "And how do you decide who is more likely to buy?" Marcus asked. "By the color of their skin." No one answered. Marcus nodded to Robert, who began handing out papers to certain employees. "These are termination letters," Marcus explained. "If you received one, you are fired, effective immediately. Please collect your personal belongings and leave the building within the next 30 minutes. The room erupted in noise. Some people started arguing. Others began to cry. "This isn't fair," one salesman shouted. "You can't fire us all." "I'm not firing everyone," Marcus said. "I'm firing the 7 people who were directly shown discriminating against customers in these videos. The rest of you will be on unpaid leave for 2 weeks while we provide mandatory training." Bill Thomas stood up angrily. "You can't run this place without us. You need experienced sales staff." Marcus smiled for the first time that day. "Actually, Mr. Thomas, I've already called our central office. A new management team is on their way here now. They'll run this dealership until we hire new staff who understand our values." Marcus turned to address everyone. "When I started this company 15 years ago, I wrote down our most important rule. We treat all customers with equal respect. Anyone who cannot follow that rule cannot work for Johnson Motors." He looked around at the shocked faces. Any questions? No one spoke. The only sound was the rustle of termination papers and the quiet sobs of those who had just lost their jobs. "Good," Marcus said. "Robert will stay here to help with the transition. Those who are leaving, please do so now." The 7 fired employees left the conference room. Some looked angry. Others looked scared. Bill Thomas, the sales manager, slammed the door as he left. The remaining staff sat quietly, waiting to see what would happen next. Marcus turned to those who stayed. "I know this is hard. Some of those people were your friends, but what they did was wrong. And those who saw it happen and did nothing were also wrong." A young woman raised her hand. Her name tag said Sarah. "Yes?" Marcus asked. "Mr. Johnson, I've only worked here for 3 weeks," Sarah said. Her voice shook a little. "I saw some things that didn't seem right, but I was afraid to say anything. I needed this job." Marcus nodded. "I understand. That's why you and the others are getting a second chance. The training will help you learn what to do when you see something wrong." Just then, the door opened. 4 people in business clothes walked in. They were from the company's main office. "Ah, perfect timing," Marcus said. "Everyone, this is the team that will run this dealership for the next month. They will hire new staff and make sure our rules are followed." He introduced each person. "This is Diane Lee, our new temporary manager. Carlos Rodriguez will handle sales. Michelle Washington will take care of customer service. And James Kim will oversee the paperwork and finances." The new team spread out around the room. They looked serious but kind. Marcus continued, "Starting tomorrow, this dealership will be different. Every customer will be treated with respect. No exceptions. He turned to Robert. Please make sure everyone signs up for the training before they leave today. Robert nodded and began setting up a sign-up sheet on his laptop. Marcus checked his watch. It's time to reopen. The customers who were waiting deserve a chance to buy cars without discrimination. Michelle Washington spoke up. Mr. Johnson, should we offer them special deals to make up for their bad experience? Marcus thought for a moment. Yes, give them our employee discount and make sure they know things are changing here. Marcus and Robert walked out to the showroom. The customers who had been waiting looked surprised to see the dealership open again. Marcus approached the Asian man he had spoken with earlier. Sir, I want to apologize for how you were treated today. I'm Marcus Johnson, the owner of this company. The man looked shocked. The owner? Yes, I came here undercover after getting complaints about this dealership. What I saw today was unacceptable. The people who treated you poorly have been fired. The man's eyes widened. All of them. The ones directly involved, yes, Marcus said. And I'd like to offer you our employee discount if you still want to buy a car today. The man smiled for the first time. Thank you. I would like that very much. Marcus went around to each customer of color who had been waiting and told them the same thing. Some were angry at first, but when they understood what had happened, they were grateful. A young black couple who had been told to come back another day decided to buy a car right then. Michelle helped them pick out a family car at a good price. By the end of the day, the dealership had sold 12 cars, more than they usually sold in 2 days. It turned out that treating people fairly was good for business. As the last customer left, Marcus stood at the front door looking at the dealership. The new team was already rearranging the office and setting up new signs that said, ALQS to me yours, we LCOM. Robert walked up beside him. Quite a day, sir. Marcus nodded. Yes, but this is just the beginning. Tomorrow we start fixing things for real. What's your next step? Robert asked. Marcus looked determined. Tomorrow I'm sending mystery shoppers to all our dealerships. If this is happening here, it could be happening elsewhere too. And if it is? Robert asked. Then we'll fix those places too, Marcus said firmly. One dealership at a time if we have to. 1 week had passed since the big changes at Westside dealership. Marcus sat in his office looking at reports from all 20 of his dealerships. After what happened at Westside, he had sent mystery shoppers to every location. These were people of different races who pretended to be customers. They wrote down how they were treated. The results made Marcus both sad and angry. 3 other dealerships showed clear signs of treating customers differently based on race. It wasn't as bad as Westside, but it was still wrong. Lisa, Marcus called to his assistant, please ask Robert to come see me. When Robert arrived, Marcus showed him the reports. We have more work to do, Marcus said. These 3 dealerships need changes too. Robert nodded. Should we do the same thing we did at Westside? Go in undercover? No, Marcus said. This time we'll do something different. I want to call a company-wide video meeting. Every employee at every dealership needs to hear directly from me. When do you want to do this? Robert asked. Tomorrow morning, Marcus said. And I want to do it from Westside. I want everyone to see the changes we've made there. The next morning, Marcus and Robert drove to Westside dealership. The place looked different already. New signs welcomed ALO customers. The new manager, Diane Lee, had put up pictures showing people of all races happily buying cars. Inside, the staff was a mix of the old employees who had stayed for training and new people who had been hired. They all wore name tags that said fair treatment for all under their names. In the main conference room, a large screen was set up for the video meeting. At exactly 9:00 a.m., Marcus sat down in front of the camera. Robert started the meeting. On the screen, Marcus could see that all 20 dealerships were connected. Hundreds of employees were watching. Good morning, everyone, Marcus began. I'm speaking to you from our Westside dealership. where something important happened last week. Marcus told the story of his undercover visit. He explained what he had found and what he had done about it. He didn't name the people who were fired, but he described the behavior that led to their firing. This company was built on respect. Marcus said, "I started Johnson Motors because I believe everyone deserves the same chance to buy a good car at a fair price. It doesn't matter what you look like or where you come from." He paused to let his words sink in. "Our mystery shoppers have visited all 20 dealerships this past week. I'm sad to say that we found problems at 3 more locations." Marcus could see worried faces on the screen. "I'm not going to fire anyone today," he continued. "Instead, I'm giving everyone a chance to do better. Starting next week, every employee will take our new training program on fair treatment." He explained the new rules. 1. All customers must be helped in the order they arrive. 2. Everyone gets the same information about prices and deals. 3. Test drives are available to anyone interested in a car. 4. No one is told to wait outside or come back later because of how they look. 5. Every employee must report unfair treatment if they see it happen. And one more thing," Marcus added. "From now on, we will have regular mystery shoppers visiting all our dealerships. These shoppers will be people of all races. They will report directly to me about how they are treated." Marcus leaned closer to the camera. "If you cannot treat all people with respect, Johnson Motors is not the place for you. But if you can follow these simple rules, you will have a good job with a company that cares about doing what's right." The meeting ended with a question and answer session. Many employees asked good questions about what to do in different situations. Marcus answered them all clearly. As the meeting ended, Marcus felt hopeful. Most people wanted to do the right thing. They just needed a leader to show them how. "So what's next?" Robert asked as they turned off the equipment. Marcus smiled. "Now we make sure it works, and we tell our story." 2 weeks after the company-wide meeting, Marcus was back at West Side dealership. He wasn't undercover this time. He wore his best suit and drove his company car. He wanted everyone to know the CEO was visiting. Diane Lee, the new manager, met him at the door. "Good morning, Mr. Johnson. We're ready for your visit. How are things going?" Marcus asked as they walked through the showroom. "Very well," Diane said. "Sales are up 30% from last month, and we've had no customer complaints." Marcus smiled. It was good news, but he wanted to see for himself. He spent the morning watching how the staff worked. He saw that customers were being helped in the order they arrived, no matter what they looked like. Everyone was offered coffee, everyone got the same information about cars, and everyone was treated with respect. Around noon, something unexpected happened. Bill Thomas, the former sales manager who had been fired, walked into the dealership. He looked different now. His expensive suit was gone, replaced by regular clothes. He didn't look as confident as before. The staff noticed him right away. Some looked worried. Others whispered to each other. Bill saw Marcus and stopped walking. Marcus walked over to him. "Hello, Bill. This is a surprise." Bill looked nervous. "Mr. Johnson, I didn't expect to see you here. What can we help you with today?" Marcus asked. Bill took a deep breath. "I'm not here to buy a car. I came to talk to you, if you have a minute." Marcus nodded. "Let's go to the office." In the manager's office, Bill sat across from Marcus. He looked down at his hands. "I've been thinking a lot about what happened," Bill said. "At first, I was angry about being fired. I thought you were being unfair." Marcus listened without speaking. "But then I started visiting other car dealerships to look for a new job," Bill continued. "And I noticed something. I saw how people of color were treated at these places too. It was the same thing we were doing here. And for the first time, I really saw how wrong it was." Bill finally looked up at Marcus. "I'm not here to ask for my job back. I know that's not possible. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. What we did was wrong, and you were right to fire us." Marcus studied Bill's face. The man seemed truly sorry. "Thank you for coming to say that, Bill. It takes courage to admit when you've been wrong." "There's one more thing," Bill said. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded paper. "I wrote about what happened here and what I learned. I sent it to the city newspaper. They published it this morning." Marcus took the newspaper clipping. The headline read, "Former car sales manager admits to racial discrimination, praises CEO's actions." In the article, Bill told the whole story. He admitted that the staff had treated people differently based on race. He described how Marcus had gone undercover and what happened afterward. Most importantly, he wrote about how he now understood why it was wrong. Marcus was surprised. "Why did you do this, Bill?" "Because people need to know," Bill said. "Other dealerships need to know they can't keep doing this, and customers need to know they don't have to accept bad treatment." For the first time, Marcus saw Bill differently, not as someone who had done something wrong, but as someone who had learned and changed. "What will you do now?" Marcus asked. "I have a job interview next week at a different car company," Bill said. "If I get the job, I promise I'll make sure everyone is treated fairly." Marcus thought for a moment. Then he made a decision. "Bill, I can't give you your old job back, but there might be another way you can help us." "What do you mean?" Bill asked. "How would you feel about helping with our training program?" Marcus suggested. "Your story could be powerful for teaching others." Bill looked surprised. "You would trust me to do that? Everyone deserves a second chance when they truly understand what they did wrong," Marcus said. "And your voice might be exactly what we need to help others understand too." 1 month later, Marcus stood in the back of a large training room at the company's main office. 50 employees from different dealerships sat watching a presentation. At the front of the room stood Bill Thomas, the former sales manager who had been fired. "I never thought I was doing anything wrong," Bill was saying to the group. "I told myself I was just being smart about business. I thought some customers were better than others." The room was quiet. Everyone listened carefully. "But I was wrong," Bill continued. "When Mr. Johnson came to our dealership Undercover and I saw the videos of how we treated people, I couldn't deny it anymore. We were judging people by their skin color, not by who they really were." Bill showed slides of the newspaper article he had written. He explained how his thinking had changed. He told the group about customers he had turned away who probably would have bought cars if he had treated them fairly. "The worst part was when I realized how it felt for those customers," Bill said. "Imagine saving money for months, being excited to buy a car, and then having someone make you feel like you don't belong there, like you're not good enough to even be in the building." Some people in the room looked uncomfortable. Others nodded in understanding. At the back of the room, Robert Chen leaned over to Marcus and whispered, "He's really good at this. The employees are listening to him more than they would listen to us." Marcus nodded. Sometimes the best teacher is someone who made the mistake and learned from it. After Bill finished speaking, the employees broke into small groups to discuss what they had heard. Marcus walked around, listening to their conversations. Most people seemed to understand the importance of fair treatment. Some even shared their own stories of times they had been treated poorly because of how they looked. Later that afternoon, Marcus met with his leadership team in the main conference room. On the table was a large stack of papers. "What are these?" Marcus asked. "Job applications," Robert said with a smile. "Since the news about what happened at Westside came out, we've had hundreds of people apply to work for us. They say they want to work for a company that cares about treating people right." Diane Lee added, "And customers are noticing too. All 20 dealerships are reporting higher sales this month." Marcus picked up one of the applications. "This is good news, but we need to make sure this isn't just temporary. Fair treatment has to be part of who we are as a company, not just something we talk about when there's a problem." "What do you suggest?" Robert asked. Marcus thought for a moment. 3 things. First, we make the training program permanent. Every new employee must take it before they start work. He held up 2 fingers. Second, we keep the mystery shoppers going to all dealerships every month. Then he held up 3 fingers. And third, we create a new position, Director of Fair Treatment. This person will report directly to me and will be responsible for making sure all our policies are working. The team nodded in agreement. Who should we hire for this new position? Robert asked. Marcus smiled. I have someone in mind. The next day, Marcus called Bill Thomas to his office. How do you think the training is going? Marcus asked. Very well, Bill said. People seem to really understand why this matters. Good, Marcus said, because I have an offer for you. He handed Bill a folder. Inside was a job description for the new Director of Fair Treatment position. You want me to do this? Bill asked in surprise. Marcus nodded. Your story is powerful. You understand both sides of this issue. And most importantly, you truly believe in what we're trying to do. Bill looked at the papers, then back at Marcus. After what I did, you would trust me with this responsibility. Sometimes, Marcus said, the person who best understands the importance of doing right is the person who once did wrong and saw the consequences. You've proven that you've changed. Now help us make sure no customer ever feels unwelcome in our dealerships again. Bill stood up and shook Marcus's hand. I won't let you down. 6 months had passed since the day Marcus Johnson went undercover at Westside dealership. Today was a special day. Johnson Motors was opening its 21st dealership, and everyone was there for the grand opening. The new dealership was bigger and more modern than any of the others. It had a large, welcoming entrance with signs in multiple languages. Inside, the staff was the most diverse group the company had ever hired. There were people of all races, ages, and backgrounds ready to help customers. Marcus stood near the entrance, watching people come in. Many important people from the city were there, including the mayor and several business leaders. News cameras filmed the event for the local TV stations. At exactly 10 o'clock a.m., Marcus walked to the center of the showroom, where a small stage had been set up. Everyone gathered around to hear him speak. Good morning, everyone, Marcus began. Thank you for coming to the opening of our newest dealership. This is a special day for Johnson Motors. He looked around at the crowd. 6 months ago, I walked into one of our dealerships pretending to be a regular customer. What I saw that day changed our company forever. I saw people being treated differently because of the color of their skin. I saw staff telling people to wait outside while helping others right away. Marcus paused. That day, I had to make a hard choice. I fired the people who were treating customers unfairly. It wasn't easy, but it was right. Bill Thomas stepped forward and stood next to Marcus. This is Bill Thomas, Marcus said. He was one of the people I fired that day. People in the crowd looked surprised. Bill could have stayed angry. He could have blamed others. Instead, he looked inside himself and decided to change. Today, he is our Director of Fair Treatment, making sure every customer at every Johnson Motors dealership is treated with respect. Bill smiled and nodded to the crowd. The story of what happened that day spread quickly, Marcus continued. Other companies called us to ask about our training program. Car buyers from all over the city started coming to our dealerships because they knew they would be treated fairly. He gestured to the new dealership around them. This new location is special. It's built on the idea that every person deserves respect. The signs are in different languages so everyone feels welcome. The staff is diverse so customers can see people who look like them. And every employee has gone through our fair treatment training program. Marcus walked over to a large red ribbon that stretched across the main entrance. But the most important thing about this dealership isn't the building or the cars. It's the promise we make to every person who walks through these doors. You will be treated with respect, no matter who you are, what you look like, or how much money you have. Marcus picked up a large pair of scissors. I'm not going to cut this ribbon alone. I've invited someone special to help me. He waved to an older Asian man standing in the crowd. It was the same man Marcus had met at Westside dealership 6 months ago, the one who had been waiting for an hour without help. Mr. Chen was one of the customers who was treated poorly that day, Marcus explained. Today, he is our honored guest. Mr. Chen walked up and stood beside Marcus. Together, they cut the ribbon. The crowd clapped and cheered. Cameras flashed as Marcus and Mr. Chen shook hands. Later, as people walked around looking at cars, a young black couple came in. They were greeted warmly right away. A salesperson offered them coffee and asked how he could help. Marcus watched from across the room. His phone buzzed with a text from Robert. West Side dealership just had its best month ever. Sales up 45%. Marcus smiled. He had built his business on respect for all people. Now that respect was helping the business grow in ways he never expected. Sometimes doing the right thing was also the smart thing. And it all started with a CEO who was willing to see the truth with his own eyes.